Rhode Island is a small coastal region rich in history, where grand seaside mansions and the ocean blend to create a captivating and timeless landscape. Along the shoreline, cliffside walking paths, bustling harbors, and historic streets form a harmonious scene between nature and architecture. In the urban center, winding rivers flow through cultural districts where art, education, and creativity thrive in a vibrant environment. Beyond the city, windswept cliffs, lighthouses, and quiet fishing villages offer a peaceful atmosphere shaped by the rhythm of the sea. Expansive beaches and natural parks provide spaces for relaxation, while inspiring exploration of this small yet richly distinctive destination. Along coastal zones where the boundary between land and ocean remains in constant flux, certain structures are built not merely to exist, but to endure. Point Judith Lighthouse stands as one of them, positioned on a headland facing the open sea where ocean currents intersect and create complex maritime conditions. This lighthouse serves not only as a navigational aid, but as an integral component of coastal safety systems. Observing the surrounding life at Point Judith Lighthouse reveals a community shaped by its dependence on the sea. Local residents sustain fishing activities and maritime-related services, forming a culture rooted in practicality. The regional cuisine is closely tied to abundant seafood resources, featuring dishes such as fresh fish, clams, and lobster, typically prepared simply to preserve their natural flavors. Coastal activities and tourism also play a significant role in the local economy. Few structures reflect the interaction between humans and nature as clearly as Point Judith Lighthouse. The first lighthouse was constructed in the early 19th century but was quickly destroyed by a powerful storm, necessitating reconstruction with a more durable design. By 1857, the current granite structure was completed, engineered to withstand harsh environmental conditions. The area has also witnessed numerous shipwrecks caused by dense fog and dangerous currents, making the maintenance of lighting and signaling systems essential for maritime operations. Approaching this location does not create an immediate sense of comfort, but instead delivers a strong impression of environmental harshness. Standing near the lighthouse, powerful ocean winds blow continuously, while waves strike the rocky shore with force, generating spreading white foam. The rough, dark rock surfaces appear shaped over long periods, clearly reflecting the ongoing erosion caused by the ocean. The space feels open, yet never still, always in motion. Are you ready to stand in that environment and fully experience the power of the ocean at Point Judith Lighthouse? What remains sometimes tells the most powerful story. Narragansett Towers, in the town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, United States, is not a complete structure, but the only remaining fragment of a luxurious seaside casino that once existed in the late 19th century. Located right along the Atlantic Ocean, this place is both a symbol of past prosperity and a trace of irreversible time. Originally built in 1886 as part of the Narragansett Pier Casino, Narragansett Towers is an iconic granite architectural structure located along the Narragansett coastline. It is the only remaining part of a luxurious entertainment complex constructed between 1883 and 1886. The structure consists of two large stone towers connected by an arched bridge spanning the coastal road, forming a unique architectural gateway into the town. In 1900, a devastating fire destroyed nearly the entire complex, leaving only the stone towers standing. Later, the structure endured the Great Hurricane of 1938 and Hurricane Carol in 1954, events that permanently altered the coastline and regional infrastructure. No longer reserved for the upper class, the area surrounding Narragansett Towers today reflects a more open and approachable coastal lifestyle. Local residents are closely connected to tourism, services, and ocean-based activities, forming a dynamic yet relaxed community. The cuisine here carries strong ocean influences, with dishes such as clam cakes, chowder, and fresh seafood prepared in traditional New England style. Standing before the towering stone arches, the space not only recalls the past, but also reflects the present rhythm of a culturally rich coastal region. The culture and way of life in Narragansett revolve around high-end recreational activities and long-standing maritime traditions. The cuisine around the towers focuses on valuable products from Narragansett Bay, such as raw oysters, Rhode Island-style fried squid, and dishes made from fresh lobster. Preserving Narragansett Towers is not only a cultural symbol, but also affirms the enduring human presence against natural challenges at key maritime economic gateways. Structure that has lost almost everything yet still stands as a symbol. Could that be enough to make you want to witness it in person and experience the value of what remains? Responsibility has shaped the true value of this landscape, a value not only built from concrete and steel, but also from resilience against harsh nature. Southeast Lighthouse in New Shoreham, located on Block Island in Rhode Island, United States, stands as a solitary yet proud symbol at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. This place is not only where land meets sea, but also a boundary between humanity and the infinite. Southeast Lighthouse is situated on the Mohegan Bluffs on the southern side of Block Island, within the town of New Shoreham, Rhode Island. This lighthouse features a Gothic Revival architectural style combined with distinctive red brick, built in 1874 to guide ships through fog-heavy waters, an area once known as the graveyard of ships. Although far from global hotspots, its position controls access to Long Island Sound, holding strategic importance comparable to key maritime choke points like the Strait of Hormuz. In 1993, the entire 2,000-ton structure was relocated approximately 295 feet inland to escape coastal erosion, a 19-day engineering feat. The site's history also records the wreck of the Princess Augusta in 1738, leaving lasting legends through generations. Behind the lighthouse's solitary appearance lies the vibrant life of a coastal community that has existed for generations, where people not only survive, but fully integrate with the ocean. Residents of New Shoreham are closely tied to fishing, tourism, and traditional seaside activities. Block Island is known for its lively summer festivals, where visitors enjoy fresh lobster, scallops, and rich seafood chowder. The slow pace of life, friendly people, and resilience against nature create a unique identity. The moment stepping onto the stone stairs leading to the edge of the cliffs all familiar sensations seem to fade, replaced by a raw sense of awe from pure nature. Before the eyes are cliffs over 197 feet high, dropping straight into the deep blue ocean below. Strong ocean winds carry salty air and the echo of crashing waves, making every step feel closer to the fragile boundary between humanity and infinity. So how do you feel about this place? Are you truly ready to stand at the ocean's edge and face its vastness? Or are you still wondering whether Southeast Lighthouse should be your next destination? In modern life, there are places that do not rely on display to assert their importance, but exist as essential components of economic flow and maritime life. Galilee is such a coastal port, located at the mouth of the bay and functioning as a major center for commercial fishing. Here, human activity and ocean movement are constantly intertwined, forming a space that is both highly practical and deeply maritime in character. Unlike many locations formed purely by natural factors, the history of Galilee is directly tied to the development of the commercial fishing industry in the 20th century. The area was named after a coastal region in Israel, reflecting the lifestyle of its fishing community. In the past, it suffered severe damage from major storms, particularly the historic hurricane of 1938 and Hurricane Carol in 1954, when the entire dock system was destroyed and had to be rebuilt with stronger structures. In addition, the most prominent annual event is the Blessing of the Fleet, attracting thousands of participants and reinforcing the port's role within the maritime economy. Observing daily life in Galilee reveals a community operating in rhythm with tides and fishing seasons. Local residents possess extensive maritime experience with strong skills in navigation and fishing under changing conditions. The cuisine directly reflects ocean resources, featuring fresh seafood such as fish, shellfish, shrimp, and squid. Typically prepared quickly to preserve freshness. Trade and coastal tourism services further contribute to a dynamic economic ecosystem. The environment here is not quiet, but constantly in motion with high intensity. Standing on the pier, the sounds of engines, mooring lines, and waves merge into a continuous rhythm. Boats move in and out without pause, creating overlapping currents across the water surface. The scent of salt and seafood fills the air, combined with strong ocean winds, producing an experience that is both raw and authentic. In conclusion, Galilee is not merely a destination, but a living system shaped by the interaction between humans and the sea, where every activity reflects both function and adaptation to the natural environment. Not every coastal structure is designed to impress, yet some become iconic simply through their function and location. Beavertail Lighthouse is a clear example, where its light not only illuminates the ocean, but also marks one of the most important maritime navigation points. Situated on a rocky headland facing the sea, the lighthouse stands at a distinct boundary between land and water, where currents and ocean winds continuously shape the surrounding landscape. Few structures carry such a clearly defined historical timeline as Beavertail Lighthouse. The first lighthouse here was built in 1749, making it one of the earliest maritime lighting systems. However, during the American Revolutionary War, British forces destroyed the structure before retreating in 1779. The current structure was later rebuilt and completed in the 19th century using durable stone materials to withstand harsh conditions. During World War II, the area was further militarized with coastal defense installations. In addition, the severe hurricane of 1938 caused significant damage, as waves surged over the area and permanently altered parts of the coastal terrain. Examining the surrounding community of Beavertail Lighthouse reveals a culture shaped by long-term dependence on the sea. Local residents maintain maritime traditions, with economic activities centered on fishing and coastal tourism. The cuisine directly reflects the environment, featuring dishes such as lobster, clam chowder, and fresh oysters harvested locally. Additionally, maintaining maritime warning systems and preserving the area is not only historically meaningful, but also essential for ensuring the safety of shipping routes. Approaching this location does not create a gentle impression, but rather feels like entering an environment where all elements operate with intensity. Standing near the base of the tower, the sound of waves striking the rocks resonates continuously, forming a powerful and unbroken rhythm. The granite formations appear layered, rough, and sharp, reflecting light with each movement of the water. Ocean winds move forcefully through the open space, reinforcing a sense of harshness combined with visual appeal. Upon leaving, what remains is not only the image of a lighthouse, but a clear awareness of its role within the relationship between humans and the ocean. How do you interpret the value of such structures? Are you ready to experience this environment yourself? And could Beavertail Lighthouse be part of your next journey? Every beach has its own story, and Scarboro State Beach is no exception, where the power of the Atlantic meets wide stretches of white sand and an endless sky. Located in Narragansett, Rhode Island, United States, this beach is both a place of relaxation for visitors and a witness to the constant changes of nature over decades. Developed in the mid-20th century as a public recreational area, Scarboro State Beach quickly became a destination attracting thousands of visitors each summer. However, its direct exposure to the Atlantic Ocean means it frequently faces major storms. Hurricanes such as the one in 1938 and others that followed have repeatedly altered the shoreline, forcing authorities to continuously reinforce infrastructure. Maintaining the beach is not only for tourism, but also a long-term effort against erosion and climate change. The community around Scarboro State Beach maintains a lifestyle closely tied to the ocean, both enjoying and adapting to the coastal environment. Residents participate in activities such as surfing, fishing, and seasonal tourism services, creating a dynamic yet relaxed way of life. Local cuisine reflects the spirit of the sea, with clam cakes, chowder, and fresh lobster, all served near the beach, where flavor blends with the natural surroundings. Standing on the high sand dunes, your gaze encompasses the entire beach, realizing the continuous movement of waves and wind. Sand shifts beneath each step. The white foam of the surf creates its own rhythm, and the horizon stretches where sea and sky merge. The culture and lifestyle in Narragansett revolve around maintaining recreational activities and connecting with nature. Local cuisine focuses on valuable seafood from Narragansett Bay, such as raw oysters, Rhode Island-style fried squid, and fresh lobster dishes. Preserving Scarboro State Beach not only protects natural value, but also maintains the stability of the coastline and key maritime economic routes. A beach that provides relaxation while also facing the full force of the ocean. Are you ready to experience Scarboro State Beach and feel its vibrant rhythm for yourself? Not every place is experienced in the same way. Some locations do not rely on spectacle or iconic symbols, yet they leave a lasting impression through their raw and unfiltered natural presence. Beavertail State Park is such a space. Where the boundary between land and ocean is not softened, but exists in direct confrontation. Rocky coastal formations extend outward into the sea, shaping the entire area as a meeting point between geological forces and the constant motion of waves. Beneath this seemingly unchanging landscape lies a history marked by significant upheavals. During the American Revolutionary War, British forces destroyed the original tower before retreating in 1779. Later, in World War II, the area was repurposed for coastal defense, with bunkers constructed to counter submarines and naval threats. The most severe natural event occurred during the 1938 hurricane, when massive waves swept across the entire headland, washing away auxiliary structures and permanently altering the rocky shoreline. Observing life in this area reveals a culture deeply tied to the ocean. The community in Jamestown maintains a long-standing maritime tradition, with economic activities centered on fishing and ecotourism. Local cuisine reflects available resources, featuring fresh seafood such as lobster, clam chowder, and oysters, harvested directly from Narragansett Bay. At the same time, maintaining maritime warning systems and preserving the landscape at Beavertail State Park is not only historically significant but also essential for ensuring the safety of international shipping routes. The environment here does not reveal itself gently, but rather appears suddenly and with overwhelming force. As one approaches the edge of the rocks, the immediate sensation is not calmness, but a clear awareness of the ocean's power. Waves crash against the stone, forming white plumes that repeat with consistent intensity. The uneven, jagged surfaces seem sculpted by time and pressure, creating a landscape that is both harsh and compelling. In conclusion, Beavertail State Park emerges not merely as a destination, but as a testament to the enduring interaction between nature and human presence, where each geological layer, historical trace, and rhythm of life contributes to a unified and thought-provoking whole. The sea wind never stops in this place. It slips through every crack in the stone, colliding with thick walls and carrying the distant echoes of the ocean. Fort Adams State Park sits at the meeting point between land and Narragansett Bay in Newport, Rhode Island, United States, where everything seems built to confront something, not to welcome, but to resist. The origins of this site date back to 1799 with an initial fort, before the current structure, one of the largest coastal fortifications in the United States, was built between 1824 and 1857. As part of a strategic defense system. Designed by Joseph Totten, the fort features massive granite and brick walls, built to withstand heavy assault. During both World Wars, it served as a key defense command center, equipped with large artillery batteries to counter German submarines. However, its exposed position also meant it endured the devastating Great Hurricane of 1938, which flooded tunnels and destroyed parts of the outer structures. Accidents involving gunpowder during training also left small, visible marks on the stone walls that remain today. After its military service ended, the site was transferred to the state of Rhode Island in 1965 and transformed into a public park. Today, a place once built for war has become one of the most vibrant cultural spaces. Fort Adams is globally recognized as a music sanctuary, hosting the Newport Folk Festival and Newport Jazz Festival. It was here that Bob Dylan shocked audiences in 1965 by performing with an electric guitar for the first time. Beyond these iconic moments, it also serves as a green lung for locals, where they sail, fish, and relax among white sails set against historic stone walls. During festival seasons, the area turns into an open-air food celebration featuring clam cakes, Dell's lemonade, and grilled seafood, while places like Sail Loft Deli provide light meals for visitors and sailors. interior space does not tell its story in a straight line. Dark corridors suddenly open into wide courtyards, and thick walls unexpectedly give way to sweeping ocean views. Some corners are nearly devoid of light, while just a few steps away, sunlight floods the entire scene. The sea wind moves through every opening, carrying salt and the sound of waves, keeping everything in motion. Standing at the edge of the fort, where land meets water, the entire landscape unfolds like a living painting, both calm and powerful. If a place built for war can become a space of peace, does its true meaning lie in its original purpose, or in how people have chosen to use it over time? In the fast-paced rhythm of the digital age, people are easily swept away by superficial values, forgetting that true happiness often comes from simplicity and sincerity. Amid the constant flow of technology and urbanization, there are still places where time seems to slow down, where one can listen to nature and to oneself. Welcome to Watch Hill Lighthouse. Let us explore this remarkably fascinating location together. The lighthouse stands firmly at the meeting point between land and sea, serving as a crucial navigational marker for ships for centuries. Few realize that the existence of Watch Hill Lighthouse is tied to early strategic decisions. As early as 1807, the first structure was built under the order of Thomas Jefferson to ensure maritime safety. However, the original wooden structure quickly deteriorated under harsh weather conditions, leading to its replacement. By 1856, the current gray granite tower was completed, accompanied by a Greek Revival-style keeper's house. A closer look at the life surrounding Watch Hill Lighthouse reveals a strong connection between people and the ocean. Life here is shaped by tides, fishing seasons, and weather patterns. Local residents maintain a disciplined, practical lifestyle enriched by deep maritime experience. The cuisine reflects this identity. Featuring fresh seafood such as clams, lobsters, and scallops, typically prepared simply to preserve their natural flavors. Community activities occur regularly, forming a tightly connected social structure. Step by step toward the shoreline, the landscape gradually unfolds in distinct layers. As I step onto the first stones, the most immediate sensation is the contrast between stillness and motion. The lighthouse remains fixed like a central axis, while waves continuously crash against the granite rocks below. The wind carries salty air across the open space, creating an environment that feels both harsh and captivating. In the end, what remains is not just the image of a lighthouse, but a space that invites reflection on the relationship between humans and nature. How do you perceive this place? Are you ready to step into this environment and experience it for yourself? And could Watch Hill Lighthouse be part of your next journey? Responsibility is not only about preserving a structure, but also about sustaining a light for journeys without a clear destination. North Lighthouse in New Shoreham, located at the northern tip of Block Island, Rhode Island, United States, appears as a final checkpoint before the ocean stretches into infinity. This is where land gradually disappears, giving way to wind, waves, and constantly shifting currents. Moving closer to the lighthouse, the landscape begins to transform in unpredictable ways. Tall sand dunes are continuously eroded by the wind, creating the sensation that the ground is shifting beneath each step. In the distance, the horizon dissolves where the sea and sky merge into one. The sound of wind and waves blends together, forming a scene both calm and intense where nature is always in motion. Could a place that is both fragile before nature and responsible for controlling such vital maritime routes be enough to make you want to step in and experience it for yourself? Life truly begins when we dare to step outside our comfort zone and allow ourselves to experience new things. Marble House, located in Newport, Rhode Island, United States, emerges as a destination not only to admire, but also to feel a bygone era. Marble House is one of the most extravagant symbols of the Gilded Age in Newport, Rhode Island, where power and wealth are expressed through every architectural detail. Built between 1888 and 1892 for William Kissam Vanderbilt and his wife Alva Vanderbilt, this structure was an extravagant 39th birthday gift costing around $11 million at the time, with marble alone accounting for $7 million. In 1895, a major upheaval occurred when Alva filed for divorce due to infidelity, an event that shocked American high society and resulted in her gaining full ownership of the mansion. In the early 20th century, as Alva Belmont, She hosted Votes for Women conferences in 1909 and 1914, transforming the estate into a hub of the women's suffrage movement. After her death in 1933, the mansion fell into decline until it was taken over and preserved by the Preservation Society of Newport County in 1963. Life inside Marble House once served as a stage for lavish parties, where the elite displayed their status in every detail. The culture here was heavily influenced by Europe, especially France, from interior design to cuisine. Elaborate dishes, such as foie gras, fine wines, and delicate desserts, were not just for enjoyment, but symbols of status. The residents of Newport, accustomed to a quiet coastal lifestyle, witnessed a significant transformation as this place became a summer gathering point for the elite. From the outside, the structure appears with pristine white marble reflecting the light, while grand classical columns stand like silent guardians of time. As you move closer, intricate carvings begin to reveal themselves, precise, cold, and nearly perfect. Stepping through the grand doors, the interior unfolds into vast halls, soaring ceilings adorned with gold, sweeping staircases leading upward, and rooms flowing into one another like a labyrinth of luxury, where every corner tells a story of power and display. Perhaps what lingers is not just the beauty of a structure, but the feeling of having stepped through a fragment of time, where people once lived, dreamed, and asserted their place in the most dazzling way. Journeys away from home are not just about movement, but about learning to love and appreciate the world more deeply. Welcome to Newport, but this time not as an ordinary destination. Rosecliff appears like a slice of the past, stretching along Bellevue Avenue facing directly the Atlantic Ocean. Let's step into a place that was not created to be lived in, but to be displayed. A stage where luxury itself became the purpose of existence. Instead of overwhelming at first glance, Rosecliff slowly reveals its beauty through each space. The largest ballroom in Newport opens up with a ceiling painted like the sky, and towering arched windows flooding the room with light. The rose gardens have been restored to their original design, extending toward the ocean like a memory reborn. However, its seaside location also exposes the structure to salt winds, erosion, and constant humidity, requiring continuous preservation efforts to combat nature's wear. Everything here is not just to be seen, but to be felt, as if stepping into a dream preserved for over a century. Here it is not simply luxury, but a world carefully staged to display status. Rosecliff represents the extravagant lifestyle of America's Gilded Age elite, where Tessie Ulrichs became one of the most powerful women shaping Newport's high society. The banquets here were not just meals, but experiences of classic French cuisine with caviar, truffles, and the finest champagne. Today, that atmosphere continues through refined afternoon tea traditions, preserving the flavors of the 19th century while also becoming an iconic cinematic setting recognized worldwide. Rosecliff was built between 1898 and 1902 for Teresa Fair Herman, daughter of silver magnate James Graham Fair, designed by architect Stanford White. Inspired by the Grand Trianon at Versailles, it replaced an earlier estate owned by botanist George Bancroft, whose rose gardens gave the mansion its name. Yet its history is not only glamour. In 1921, a major fire broke out in the service quarters, nearly consuming the house. In 1938, a hurricane destroyed the seaside rose gardens. And amid it all, extravagant events like the Bal Blanc continued, where high society turned everything into a perfectly staged spectacle. Today, Rosecliff is not only a tourist attraction, but a cultural symbol where the past continues to exist in another form. But standing here, are you truly admiring beauty or witnessing a vanished era refusing to disappear? Are you ready to step inside, or will you remain outside only observing? A journey away from home is not simply about movement, but a way for us to learn how to love and appreciate the world more deeply. Cliff Walk stretches along the eastern coastline of Newport, in the state of Rhode Island, United States, where cliffs face directly toward the vast Atlantic Ocean. With a length of about 3.5 miles, this path is not only a seaside walkway, but also a fragile boundary between untamed nature and the opulent estates of a bygone era. The space here clearly reflects the intersection of social classes. It is one of the rare places where the public can walk alongside stone walls and look directly into the extreme luxury of elite mansions. At the same time, this path is part of the daily life of Newport residents, where they walk, exercise, fish, or simply admire the ocean. There are no restaurants directly on the trail, but a picnic culture has developed, with visitors bringing light snacks or ending their journey at nearby spots around First Beach to enjoy New England clam chowder or lobster rolls. Small carts selling Dell's Lemonade, Rhode Island's signature frozen lemonade, often appear at both ends of the trail, becoming a familiar part of the experience. The origin of this path was not from planning, but from the spontaneous footsteps of indigenous people later followed by fishermen and seaweed gatherers along the coast. In the 19th century, when wealthy families such as the Vanderbilt and Astor built summer cottages, they attempted to turn the area into private grounds, but Rhode Island law protected public shoreline access. In 1975, it was officially recognized as the first national recreation trail in New England. However, nature has not always been gentle. The Great Hurricane of 1938 destroyed many sections. Hurricane Sandy in 2012 caused more than $5 million in damage. And most recently, a 2022 landslide caused part of the path to collapse into the sea, raising concerns about long-term sustainability. From the very first steps, the path unfolds with sections of stone paving mixed with natural rugged terrain, where ocean waves continuously crash against the cliffs, creating echoing sounds. As you move deeper, the landscape constantly shifts. Some sections are smooth and easy, others require careful footing across large rocks. On one side stretches the endless ocean to the horizon, on the other are manicured gardens and historic stone walls, making each step feel like moving between two contrasting worlds. Perhaps it is places like this that make people realize that beauty does not lie in perfection, but in what endures through time and storms, remaining there quietly yet meaningfully. Yet, every journey is like a living journal, where we continue writing our own story while collecting unforgettable memories. But if there is a place that doesn't feel like a tourist destination, but more like a living current unfolding before your eyes, it is Thames Street in Newport, a street that never sleeps, never stops, and seems to have no clear beginning or end. Walking along Thames Street feels like stepping through layers of time stacked upon one another. The narrow street, with sections paved in cobblestone, features vintage-style signs hanging over facades that have stood for centuries. Small alleys unexpectedly open toward the wharves, offering expansive yet tranquil views of the harbor. Yet behind this beauty lies constant preservation pressure. Humidity and salt air slowly erode the wooden structures, forcing the city to continuously balance between conservation and change. You cannot clearly distinguish tourists from locals once you enter this space. Thames Street brings together every social layer, from the wealthy elite to sailors and local artists. During the day, the street feels calm with small shops and museums, but at night it transforms into a lively entertainment hub with Irish-style pubs and classic American bars. Events like the St. Patrick's Day Parade turn it into a sea of people. Food is inseparable from the experience. Lobster rolls, stuffed clams, and fresh oysters served right by the harbor create a true taste of the ocean. Historic taverns still stand as witnesses of time, serving simple yet deeply local dishes. Before becoming a vibrant street, this place had already existed since the 1650s as part of early American history. Thames Street was originally formed as a coastal road supporting docks and maritime trade. By the 18th century, it became a commercial center filled with warehouses, shipyards, and merchant shops, when Newport was among the most important ports in colonial America. However, the street was occupied by British forces from 1776 to 1779, and many structures were destroyed during their retreat. Later, 19th century fires and the Great Hurricane of 1938 continued to devastate the area. Despite this, many colonial, federal, and Victorian buildings still remain, creating a rare living historical environment. Thames Street does not need to stand out to be remembered. It exists in its own way, imperfect, unpolished, yet full of life. And perhaps that is exactly why people return. So if one day you step into this street, will you simply pass through or truly pause to understand why such an ordinary place can leave such a lasting impression? Every journey is like a living journal, where we continue writing our own story while collecting unforgettable memories. Welcome to Providence, the capital of Rhode Island, home to the Rhode Island State House, one of the most impressive government buildings in the United States. Let's explore this structure perched atop Smith Hill, where political power and classical architecture intersect. Few realize that behind its monumental exterior lies a structure built with a clear ambition to assert authority. The Rhode Island State House was constructed from 1895 to 1904 by McKim, Mead, and White, using over 15 million bricks and clad in rare white Georgia marble. Designed in the neoclassical style with a massive self-supporting dome, the building is also tied to turbulent events such as the Dorr Rebellion, political tensions in the 1970s, and the 2010 flood that threatened the state's historical archives. In the smallest state in the U.S., this space amplifies the dynamics of power in a striking way. The Rhode Island State House reflects not only political life, but also how people interact with authority at close range. The Independent Man statue atop the dome stands not just as a symbol, but as a constant reminder of freedom and independent thought. Below, ceremonies, protests, and even everyday moments unfold, giving the building both ceremonial weight and a living presence. If you remain long enough, details begin to emerge gradually rather than all at once. The original portrait of George Washington by Gilbert Stuart serves as a historical anchor, while the rotunda opens into a space filled with vibrant murals and shifting light. Yet beyond that beauty, the exterior marble is slowly degrading under acid rain and pollution, turning preservation into an ongoing battle against time. Not every seat of power makes you feel small, but this one does in its own way. It does not overwhelm by size, but by the weight of time and meaning it carries. And when you leave, what lingers is not the dome or the halls, but a question. What truly endures longer, the structure itself, or the values people try to embed within it? Life truly begins when we dare to let our feet lead the way, and the world unfolds before our eyes with countless wonders we have never known. WaterFire Providence is located in the city of Providence, in the state of Rhode Island in the northeastern United States, where the Woonasquatucket, Moshassuck, and Providence rivers converge in the heart of the urban center. This unique location transforms the area into an ideal setting where light and water blend into a mesmerizing outdoor artistic stage. The journey of this event began in 1994, when Barnaby Evans created the piece First Fire, with only 11 braziers lit, yet it quickly made a powerful impression on the community. By 1996, the expanded version's second fire was introduced, laying the foundation for its current scale. In 1997, the nonprofit organization WaterFire Providence was officially established to manage and develop the event. From there, WaterFire reached an international level, becoming a model replicated in cities such as Columbus, Kansas City, and even in Singapore and France. In 2017, the organization further expanded its influence by renovating a former rubber factory of over 3,400 square meters, approximately 36,600 square feet, into the WaterFire Arts Center, strengthening its role in the local cultural landscape. From a distance, the rivers appear like dark ribbons winding through the city, gradually coming alive as each flame is lit. As you move closer, the reflections of fire on the water create soft, ever-changing movements shaped by the breeze. The crackling sound of burning wood blends with music echoing through the night, while small boats drift silently among the braziers, making the entire scene feel both intimate and surreal. More than just an artistic event, this place has become a powerful economic driver for the entire downtown area. WaterFire has been credited with generating hundreds of millions of dollars in tourism revenue, helping restaurants, hotels, and local services thrive. From a once quiet space, the downtown area has transformed into the city's living room, where people from all walks of life gather to enjoy free art. Over time, WaterFire has evolved beyond simply lighting fires on the river, becoming a contemporary cultural heritage of Rhode Island, a clear testament to how art can transform the destiny of an old industrial city. There are moments when one realizes that what lingers is not the brilliance of the flames, but the feeling of being immersed in a space where everything slows down, where people and art exist together in a shared rhythm of breath. WaterFire Providence is located in the city of Providence, in the state of Rhode Island in the northeastern United States, where the Woonasquatucket, Moshassuck, and Providence rivers converge in the heart of the urban center. This unique location transforms the area into an ideal setting where light and water blend into a mesmerizing outdoor artistic stage. The journey of this event began in 1994, when Barnaby Evans created the piece First Fire, with only 11 braziers lit, yet it quickly made a powerful impression on the community. By 1996, the expanded version's second fire was introduced, laying the foundation for its current scale. In 1997, the nonprofit organization WaterFire Providence was officially established to manage and develop the event. From there, WaterFire reached an international level, becoming a model replicated in cities such as Columbus, Kansas City, and even in Singapore and France. In 2017, the organization further expanded its influence by renovating a former rubber factory of over 3,400 square meters, approximately 36,600 square feet, into the WaterFire Arts Center, strengthening its role in the local cultural landscape. From a distance, the rivers appear like dark ribbons winding through the city, gradually coming alive as each flame is lit. As you move closer, the reflections of fire on the water create soft, ever-changing movements shaped by the breeze. The crackling sound of burning wood blends with music echoing through the night, while small boats drift silently among the braziers, making the entire scene feel both intimate and surreal. More than just an artistic event, this place has become a powerful economic driver for the entire downtown area. WaterFire has been credited with generating hundreds of millions of dollars in tourism revenue, helping restaurants, hotels, and local services thrive. From a once quiet space, the downtown area has transformed into the city's living room, where people from all walks of life gather to enjoy free art. Over time, WaterFire has evolved beyond simply lighting fires on the river, becoming a contemporary cultural heritage of Rhode Island, a clear testament to how art can transform the destiny of an old industrial city. There are moments when one realizes that what lingers is not the brilliance of the flames, but the feeling of being immersed in a space where everything slows down, where people and art exist together in a shared rhythm of breath. When we allow ourselves to wander into unfamiliar lands, life seems wider and more vivid than ever before. Welcome to Federal Hill. Let's explore this fascinating place together, a neighborhood located on a small hill just west of downtown Providence. The main axis, Atwell's Avenue, serves as the backbone of the entire area, where life, culture, and cuisine converge. At the entrance, the gateway featuring La Piña, a bronze pine cone, hangs over a large steel arch as a symbolic greeting of hospitality and prosperity. You will immediately realize that this is not just a neighborhood. It is a living community. The people of Federal Hill take pride in their Italian heritage, where multi-generational families coexist with artists and young students, creating a dynamic blend of identities. And then, food becomes the most powerful common language. This is truly Little Italy, with one of the highest concentrations of Italian restaurants in the region, from artisan bakeries and cheese shops to upscale dining establishments. Dishes like fresh pasta, Coal-fired pizza, cannoli, and especially veal parmigiana are not just meals, they are experiences. At Di Pasquale Square, everything slows down. People sip espresso, talk, and let music fill the evening air. Not from above, but only when standing in the middle of the street can you truly feel Federal Hill. Warm yellow lights stretch along the stone-paved road, reflecting off vintage signs. Restaurants line up closely, doors open as if inviting, while Italian music softly plays somewhere in the background. Each step takes you deeper into a space where the boundary between past and present begins to fade. You might come here for the food, for its reputation, or simply out of curiosity. But what keeps you here is not on the menu. It is something harder to name, something both familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. So if given the chance, will you just pass through? Or stay long enough to truly understand this place? Sometimes it is not the loud or famous places that make us stop, but the nearly forgotten spaces leave the deepest mark. Welcome to East Beach, a narrow strip of sand stretching along the southern edge of Westerly, where the Atlantic Ocean and coastal lagoons exist side by side like two opposing worlds. There is no clear boundary, only nature shaping itself over time. Sound arrives before sight. The long whistle of the wind, the relentless crash of waves, and an emptiness that makes everything feel unfamiliar. Before you can fully see the landscape, you can already feel its vastness. Then the details slowly emerge. Endless sand, waves colliding without pause, and a horizon that seems infinite. There is no end point, no center, only constant motion. From a natural perspective, this place should not exist in a stable form. East Beach is a barrier beach, a fragile geological structure constantly reshaped by waves and currents. Powerful storms like those in 1938 and 1954 did not just cause damage, they erased and redrew the shoreline entirely. Entire sections once existed, and then disappeared. And it is this instability that keeps the place alive. The people who appear here are rarely alike, yet they share one thing. They are not seeking comfort. There are no shops, no music, nothing that fits the usual definition of entertainment. Only anglers standing still for hours, walkers moving quietly along the sand, and those who choose to face the silence. In the distance, seabirds glide across the sky, while beneath your feet, a fragile ecosystem continues to exist in its own way. East Beach does not try to impress, and it does not need to be understood. It exists like a slow breath of nature, unhurried, unexplained, and perhaps the only thing you can do is stay long enough to realize you have already changed. Sometimes we need to step away from familiar streets to rediscover our own rhythm of breath in new lands. Welcome to Colt State Park. Let's explore a fascinating destination located in the town of Bristol. This coastal park spans approximately 464 acres, with one side facing the deep blue waters of Narragansett Bay and the other opening into forests and vast grassy fields. The terrain blends rocky shoreline, lush green lawns, and carefully manicured rows of ancient trees. It is no coincidence that this land carries such a distinctive historical narrative. Before becoming a public park, it was known as Colt Farm, a luxurious estate owned by Samuel P. Colt, nephew of the founder of Colt Firearms, who shaped both its landscape and a progressive philosophy of land use for his time. In 1968, the state of Rhode Island officially acquired the property and opened it to the public. However, its past also bears marks of natural disasters and upheaval, particularly the Great Flood of 1938, which destroyed many original structures and altered the coastline, along with fires that consumed wooden buildings before the area was rebuilt more permanently. Beginning along Shoreline Drive as it curves gently beside the water, the view expands into a sweeping panorama of the bay, where light dances across the surface. At the entrance, bronze bull statues stand as symbols of the land's agricultural past. Further outward, salt marshes and coastal forests form a rich ecosystem supporting waterbirds. Yet this beauty faces ongoing challenges, as saltwater intrusion and increasingly powerful waves contribute to coastal erosion. What brings this place to life is not only its scenery, but the way people inhabit and interact with it. Picnic culture thrives here, with families gathering across open lawns, and the park has become one of Rhode Island's most popular outdoor wedding venues. It attracts active individuals, from cyclists to kite enthusiasts, drawn by the steady coastal winds. Culinary experiences remain simple and personal, as visitors bring local seafood like grilled striped bass or stuffed clams, alongside traditional picnic foods such as hot dogs, hamburgers, and roasted corn. Perhaps Colt State Park is more than just a destination. It is a necessary pause, a place where one can rediscover balance between modern life and the vastness of nature, carrying a quiet sense of peace long after leaving. When we allow ourselves to wander into unfamiliar lands, life seems wider and more vivid than ever before. Welcome to Bristol Harbor. Let's explore this fascinating place together. A historic harbor located in the town of Bristol, facing the vast Narragansett Bay. This is not just a harbor, but the historical and cultural heart of one of the oldest coastal regions in the United States. In the distance over the bay, boats appear as small moving dots across the deep blue water. As you get closer, masts rise clearly, standing like lines cutting across the sky. And upon reaching the harbor, every detail sharpens. The rippling water reflects light. Old wooden planks creak softly underfoot, and the sea breeze carries a salty scent through every corner of the space. Behind that peaceful scenery lies a dense and complex layer of history. Bristol was settled by the English in 1680 on land belonging to the Pokanoket people of the Wampanoag Confederacy. The 18th century marked a dark period when it became a major center for the slave trade, bringing wealth but leaving lasting scars. During the American Revolutionary War, British forces attacked and burned much of the harbor area in 1778. Later, the harbor became known for the Harris-Hoff Manufacturing Company, which built 8 consecutive America's Cup-winning yachts. Then the Great Hurricane of 1938 submerged the entire waterfront under rising seawater, destroying ships and warehouses. It is no coincidence that this place has maintained its unique vitality through centuries. The people of Bristol are known for their strong patriotism, expressed through the oldest continuous Independence Day celebration in the United States, beginning in 1785. The culture is deeply tied to shipbuilding and sailing, with the spirit of a shipbuilding capital still visible in yacht clubs and harbor life. The cuisine reflects a blend of influences: fresh seafood like striped bass, lobster, and clams, alongside Italian and Portuguese flavors such as chorizo sausage and traditional pastries. And when all sounds begin to fade, leaving only the wind and the rhythm of the water, you realize this place is not just meant to be seen, but to be felt. Will you slow down enough to hear the story of Bristol Harbor, or let it pass like so many fleeting moments? There are moments that only appear when we dare to step away from the daily whirlwind and allow ourselves to be free. Welcome to Sachuest Point National Wildlife Refuge. Let's explore this incredibly fascinating place together. A peninsula jutting out into the sea at the southeastern tip of Aquidneck Island. It is surrounded by the Sachuest River to the east and the Rhode Island Sound to the south, covering about 242 acres of pristine coastal land. Hidden deep within layers of time, the history of this land unfolds like a quiet yet powerful current. From the homeland of the Narragansett people, Sachuest Point was drawn into the turmoil of World War II as a naval station equipped with coastal artillery. Far offshore, massive storms such as the Great Hurricane of 1938 and Hurricane Bob in 1991 carved deep scars into the shoreline. Then in 1970, the land was transferred to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, closing one chapter and opening another. Faintly along the coastal trails appear people embodying the New England spirit, calm yet deeply connected to nature. Wildlife photographers wait patiently, hikers quietly explore, and surfcasters hunt striped bass through the night. The culture here is not loud, but seeps in like the salty ocean air. Nearby, dishes such as clam cakes and chowder, fresh lobster rolls, and Dell's frozen lemonade become simple yet unforgettable rewards. In the distance along the horizon, the landscape of Sachuest Point unfolds like a wild yet delicate painting. As I step onto the first stone paths, the initial feeling is pure awe. Towering cliffs plunge into the ocean, below them rocky beaches, salt marshes, and coastal grasslands sway in the wind. Occasionally, harlequin ducks overwinter here, while white-tailed deer wander freely, an ecosystem both vibrant and fragile under the pressure of rising sea levels. Quiet yet profound, Sachuest Point stands as a meeting point between nature and humanity. It is a vital stop along the Atlantic Flyway, an outdoor classroom for younger generations, and a refuge for those seeking peace. How do you feel about this place? Are you ready to step away and experience it for yourself? Not every place needs grandeur to make people pause. Sometimes, all it takes is a harbor old enough to hold the memory of time. Bowen's Wharf sits along Newport Harbor in the state of Rhode Island, United States, where the water is always in motion but the space itself seems still. Rows of historic wooden buildings stand side by side facing the sea, creating a setting that feels both simple and deeply layered with history. Few realize that this place began in 1760 under the name Stevens's Wharf, built by Robert Stevens, a merchant supplying provisions to passing ships. In the early 19th century, the Bowen family took over, transforming it into a hub for coal trade and maritime transport. Over time, from an industrial port covered in oil and coal dust, it was redeveloped in the late 1960s into the commercial and tourism destination seen today. Yet its story is not only one of growth. The Great Gale of 1815 raised water levels more than 3 meters, sweeping away many waterfront structures. Frequent fires in the 19th century caused by rum distillation and coal storage were also part of its history. Most recently, a major storm in 2022 caused severe flooding, forcing authorities to implement protective measures against rising sea levels. Within what appears to be a peaceful setting, the signs of time and climate change quietly reveal themselves. Rising sea levels, erosion of stone foundations, and saltwater intrusion are gradually putting pressure on historic structures built along the water's edge. The constant movement of tourist boats and luxury yachts also contributes to plastic waste and fuel pollution, requiring ongoing cleanup efforts to maintain the harbor's appearance. Yet in this intersection, between red brick pathways and modern million-dollar yachts, visitors can pause and take in the panoramic view of Claiborne Pell Bridge at sunset, a fragile balance between past and present. Life here carries a strong maritime spirit where sailors, yacht owners, and craftsmen coexist in a shared space. One of the most iconic symbols is the massive anchor, Bowen's Wharf anchor, recovered from the ocean floor by a lobster boat in the 1970s, serving as a reminder of the enduring connection to the sea. The area comes alive during festivals, from the Bowen's Wharf Seafood Festival in October to the sight of sailboats lighting a Christmas tree in winter. Along the harbor, restaurants such as The Mooring and 22 Bowen's Wine Bar and Grill offer culinary experiences centered around fresh seafood, especially raw bars featuring oysters, shrimp, and crab caught locally accompanied by fine wines and Southern American whiskey. There is no clear beginning, nor a defined end, only footsteps guiding you along wooden planks that creak softly under the weight of time. Masts rise unevenly, cutting across the sky like unfinished lines, while the water reflects light in shifting patterns. Boats sway gently, as if they have never truly left the past they belong to. If a place can belong to the present while never fully leaving the past, are we visiting a destination or stepping into a fragment of time? There is a paradox. One of the most important places preserving tennis history in the world was never originally meant for that purpose. In Newport, the International Tennis Hall of Fame exists as an unintended result, a space where the past gradually accumulated until it became something irreplaceable. A wooden structure in the shingle style, simple yet refined, was built in 1880 by James Gordon Bennett Jr. after he was expelled from an elite club due to a scandalous bet. Originally known as the Newport Casino, a true entertainment complex of its time, it quickly became the stage for the first U.S. National Championships in 1881, laying the foundation for today's U.S. Open. In 1954, Jimmy Van Allen transformed it into the Hall of Fame, and by 1986 it was officially recognized as the only one of its kind in the world. Its history, however, has not been smooth. It nearly faced demolition in the 1950s, and even today, the coastal climate, with humidity, termites, and storms, continues to threaten the wooden structures, requiring costly restorations. Here, everything operates under a different framework. Tennis culture is not only about technique, but also about ritual, white attire, movement on grass, and deep respect for tradition. Annual induction ceremonies are not just events, but transitions between generations, where names like Roger Federer and Steffi Graf become part of the space itself. Yet despite its aristocratic appearance, the venue remains accessible, allowing the public to play on its courts. After matches, La Forge Casino Restaurant serves regional dishes such as lobster salad, summer cocktails, and light refreshments beside the courts. There is a distinct moment when standing among these grass courts, everything becomes so quiet that even the smallest movements can be heard. The wooden buildings retain their original form, and the low, intimate stands remove any barrier between players and spectators. Yet this fragility is also the greatest challenge. Humidity, sea salt, and time slowly erode every detail, turning preservation into an ongoing struggle between nature and human effort. Perhaps what defines this place is not the trophies or records, but how it preserves seemingly insignificant moments. A single shot, a fleeting moment, a story. Everything is retained here quietly, yet persistently. And when you leave, you may wonder, what truly defines a legacy? The scale of it, or the moments that once happened within it? There is a special kind of beauty that only reveals itself when we are willing to pause in distant places and listen to the heartbeat of the earth. Welcome to Providence Riverwalk. Let's explore a fascinating destination located in the heart of Providence. Stretching along the Providence River, this pedestrian pathway acts as a spatial connector, linking College Hill, home to Brown University, with the vibrant financial district through a system of small parks, Venetian-style footbridges, and stone steps leading down to the water's edge. Not merely a public walkway, the Riverwalk serves as a convergence point of culture and creativity. The WaterFire event has become its soul, where over 80 braziers burn across the water, accompanied by meditative music, attracting millions of visitors each year. The people of Providence represent a blend of students from Rhode Island School of Design, intellectuals, and local artists, creating a free-spirited and innovative atmosphere. Along the walkway, food trucks serve everything from tacos to seafood, while Federal Hill is renowned for Italian cuisine, such as handmade pasta and coal-fired pizza, alongside a strong coffee culture with independent roasters lining the river. From the vantage point near the water's edge, where gentle ripples reflect shimmering light, the view gradually expands outward. Iron and stone bridges stretch across the river, evoking a distinctly European charm, while in the distance, modern skyscrapers rise against the skyline. Between these contrasts stand historic red brick buildings, all blending into a dynamic urban composition where past and present coexist in a single visual narrative. In the end, what remains is not just imagery, but a lingering emotion. Are you ready to step into a place where past and present intertwine? The journey away from home is not simply movement, but a way for us to learn to love and appreciate the world more. The Breakers was built in 1893 by the Vanderbilt family, one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in the United States at the time. Located in Newport, facing directly the Atlantic Ocean, the mansion stands as a symbol of ultimate wealth and power of America's late 19th century elite. The owner of the Breakers was Cornelius Vanderbilt II, president of the New York Central Railroad, and one of the most powerful men of his era. The mansion was constructed from 1893 to 1895 at a cost of about $12 million, equivalent to over $430 million today. Previously, a wooden house with the same name was completely destroyed in a massive fire in 1892, forcing him to rebuild the residence entirely with stone and steel, making it nearly fireproof. After his death in 1899, the estate became financially burdensome, and by 1948 it was leased for just $1 per year, officially transferred in 1972. Notably, the Great Hurricane of 1938 severely damaged the surrounding landscape, yet the stone and steel structure remained standing like an unbreakable fortress. Without needing any introduction, the Breakers creates an overwhelming impression at first sight. Designed by architect Richard Morris Hunt in the Italian Renaissance style, inspired by 16th century European palaces, the mansion spans over 125,000 square feet on a 13-acre property. Its entire structure uses a steel frame, brick walls, and limestone, with no wooden beams at all. Inside are 70 rooms, including a great hall rising about 45 feet, a dining room with 12 red alabaster columns, a music room crafted in France, along with its own power plant, and separate freshwater and seawater systems, an engineering marvel of its time. Here, bustling and mesmerizing, life reflects the extravagant culture of America's Gilded Age elite. The Vanderbilt family hosted lavish parties with hundreds of guests, where voices echoed beneath gold-covered ceilings and crystal lights shimmered across the space. The interior features over 20 types of marble, imported from Italy and Africa, with gold leaf covering the ceilings. Servants made up nearly half the household, operating everything from fine French cuisine to personal service, turning the mansion into a non-stop machine of luxury. Today, the Breakers is the most visited tourist attraction in Rhode Island, welcoming around 450,000 visitors each year. The mansion is not only a symbol of extreme wealth, but also a testament to the remarkable advancement of American engineering at the time. What do you think about this place? Are you truly ready to step into this world of luxury? Or does it remain just an untouchable dream?